Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on WakeUpCallDT.com, your one-stop sports shop, and on MixLR.com/WakeUpCallDT. It's always an honor and a privilege to be on the broadcast with the wonderful voices in the sports world and beyond that. You know, when it comes to Wake Up Call, that the tagline of this show and this company has always been where sports meets life. And what I mean by that is taking the world of sports, using sports as a vehicle essentially to spread faith, positivity, comedy, community, openness, understanding, empathy, to bring people together. And so Jim Sikowski of Chick-fil-A Cicero, he got me connected with the canteen when he brought me over there. And like I said just a few minutes ago on the show, when we donated sandwiches from Chick-fil-A, and I got to shoot a video with him, and we got to be around the kids, and I got to meet Toni. And when I was there, I trust my vibes. And my vibe was like, talk to Toni, take her aside, ask her about this, let her know that, you appreciate this and you're interested in what they're doing. And after that, when I started the CNY Pop Festival, I sat there and said, who do I want to donate to? We're going to give 100% of all the Syracuse signatures to somebody, and we're not going to take a single penny from it. Who are we going to give it to? And without question, I called the canteen. And that's what I wanted to do, and that's who I wanted to work with. And Toni was all up for it. She came to the CNY Pop Festival in the morning. She was the first one on the stage, and we got to speak on it. And then we were able to go there this week and to present them with a check from the CNY Pop Festival and to give back to something that I think is truly special and wonderful, and to an individual who I know is working very hard in the community. So with that being said, for the first time ever in Significant Soundbites, we have Toni from the canteen. Toni, how you doing today?
Great. Good morning. Good morning.
So, Toni, how did you get involved? Bring me, for the people that don't know, how would you describe the canteen and just what it does for the community, what it does for the youth in our community?
So the canteen is a drop-in teen center that sits next door to Cicero North Syracuse High School, which happens to be one of the biggest high schools in Onondaga County. And its purpose and its goal has been to provide services, supports, and opportunities for kids after school every day at a time when a majority go home to empty households because parents have other responsibilities and things that they have to take care of during those after-school hours. So, especially the teen population that tend to be at risk of making some really difficult decisions regarding their own health and choices, we provide a place where kids can come and build relationships and experience things outside of their level that they normally wouldn't get a chance to do.
And how important, when it comes to that, like you said, instead of going home to an empty house and, and maybe having the peer pressure of doing something or not being able to, really connect with somebody. So, seeking how, when it comes to the canteen, just what you could say about, keeping the focus of the youth on something positive, on community, on being around people, instead of being, so to speak, left to your own devices and, home alone and not having that interaction.
Especially today with social media, they are so connected to their phones that social interaction, peer-to-peer, person-to-person, adult to young person, is kind of rare because they really kind of cyclone themselves. And so, having these personal interactions with their peers, with us as adults, having conversations and having fun and experiencing things is just so needed today. It's just so needed. They rely so much on social media that the real world is scary to them, and communicating with the real world is even scarier.
So how have you seen, maybe some of these stories, and you can obviously leave names out and whatnot, yep. but do you have, some stories of somebody that maybe came in, was maybe socially awkward or always on their phone and whatnot, that has transitioned to being more open and honest and forming bonds? Do you have some of those stories of someone that came in one way but has now since, become more of a community person, more open, more about, working with other people, being able to look someone eye to eye, which I think is very difficult for the youth of today's world. Do you have some of those stories?
Absolutely. That happens every day. Last night was our Thanksgiving dinner. And it's our annual Thanksgiving dinner, and we invite the seniors from the Cicero Senior Center to enjoy the meal with us, and we get to go around and say what we're thankful for. And I can't tell you the number of times a young person said, and I'm not exaggerating, this saved my life. I was just so lonely, had no friends, and now I have a place, I have friends, I have people, and that means everything to a teenager, absolutely everything to a teenager. So we're their tribe, we're their home away from home. And so it really is, I could tell you story after story after story of kids who were lost. Because we're such a big school district, and because kids can get lost in the sauce, it really is kind of, I wish every community had a second home for kids so that they can feel connected and feel like they belong somewhere.
When you say that, when you hear a young adult say to you, "You saved my life, I was lost." What does that do for you to hear those words? Without you, maybe I wouldn't be here, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am, even if I was here.
It is the most humbling and gratifying, and all in the same breath. You think at one moment it's so sad that they felt this way to begin with, and then in the next moment you're so grateful that you were given the opportunity to meet this young person and to get to know them and to help them figure out who they are and what they believe and how they feel about life in general and what they're good at. I mean, everybody's good at something. It's just trying to figure out what that thing is. I'm beyond what I've gotten from this experience over 20 years, far greater than words can express.
Speaking here with Toni of The CanTeen, which you can find in Cicero, New York. Toni, to do this, to be able to connect with the CNY Pop Festival and to give something back to you, I've had this conversation recently where, we raised some money and we brought it over this week. And when I called you and I told you, I was like, "I'm sorry, it's not more. I wanted to get you as much as we possibly could. I want to do that." And your response was, "Are you kidding me? Do you understand what this is going to do and how far it's going to go and the food and whatnot?" You seem you're like the eternal optimist, and you have always. I mean, in the times that I've been around you, it's very inspiring, and it just it helps you out. I mean, you made me feel like if we gave $5, you were going to make that do 5 different things. Just what you can say about how you stay positive, how you stay optimistic, and how every little bit counts when it comes to the canteen.
So I happen to belong to Optimist International. So I am an optimist, but to be quite honest, there's so many connections between what you do and what I do. In that, what we learned years ago is that we need a group to do some fundraising for us, because there's no way just government dollars are going to keep us afloat. So this 501c3 was formed, and what we found is these little fundraisers really burn us out, and every penny truly does make a huge difference. So it was introduced, the idea of the Gus Macker basketball tournament was introduced to us as a fundraising opportunity, and those that play basketball have heard of Gus Macker. I, being less than 5 foot in stature, have no idea what Gus Macker is. And so when we decided to do this as a fundraiser for the community, little did I know it was going to raise what it was going to raise. So, tying sports in with giving back to the community is what we've done for the last going on 10 years this summer. So it was really kind of ironic that the Pop Festival would happen on the same weekend as our big basketball tournament. But I was grateful and will continue to be grateful for every opportunity to step out and accept donations that are given, be there and be the voice for the kids that can't. And in so many ways, to be a human being in the world we are today, you have to be humble and you have to be grateful and you have to look around you and say, there could be me. So we really do appreciate all that is given to us, and it just so happens that sports for us has raised the cash to keep us open every year.
Speaking here with Toni of The CanTeen for a few more minutes here, and the art of leadership is a big thing on this show, and as I said, where sports meets life. Toni, for you, what has it done for your life personally? You're helping the kids, like you're part of Optimist International, like you said. There's things that you have done to connect yourself with these kids, with the community. What have they done for you as you work every day to try to help them? How have they helped you?
So I have two sons of my own that are now grown adults living out in the world. My older son lives in Virginia, and he's a newspaper editor. And my younger son is an Army veteran who now is a Syracuse University peace officer. And my husband and I have been together for 36 years. And I would not be who I am today in every aspect of who I am today if it weren't for the 20 years of interacting with this community and these kids and my family supporting and being there while I've been late for dinners or missed family functions or done what you have to do. You have to be able to give to get. And so for me, it's just been a natural family function in our lives that the canteen is the home away from home, to the point where some past participants are now full-fledged members of my family, go on family vacations with us, do all the things, because you really do have to open your heart completely, not just partially, but completely to these kids for you to be genuine and really believe and walk the walk.
So you're going to make me cry over here. That's not okay on live radio. But no, it is okay. I mean, I wear my heart on my sleeve. But the reality of it all is you have done so much and you have cared so deeply. How have you found the way, especially in today's world, to open your heart so big?
You have to have faith and belief in what you do. Whether or not you're a part of the faith-based community, you have to have faith and belief in what you do. And you have to believe that there's potential in every single person you make contact with. No matter the circumstance, no matter the time of day, no matter what else is going on in your life, you got to be in the moment and remind yourself on a daily basis what it means to be a human being. And so, it's not hard. It's not hard. If you really believe what you're doing is genuine, then it's not hard at all.
That coming from Toni of The CanTeen, and their connection to the CNY Pop Festival was awesome, and everything is great, and we hope for a continued bond and a continued connection. Toni, final words to the kids out there that haven't been to the canteen. Why should they come? What can you do, to kind of shine your beacon, this morning, just what you can tell me about that, and tell the kids out there and the parents and the grandparents and whatnot that are listening to the show why coming to the canteen could be a good idea for someone who hasn't been there yet.
Coming to the canteen would be a great idea for any young person, but most especially someone who is looking for a place to have those opportunities. We do a lot of traveling. We have a lot of fun. We eat a lot. We are known for our food options. But I'd also like to say to all the adults out there that there's kids in your lives that need that extra adult aside from their parents. They need that person that can be their go-to person, their soft space to land. And anybody can be that. You don't need a place like the canteen in order to be that for a kid. So although I am grateful and I, would love every kid within the hearing distance to come to the canteen, I also know that there's a bazillion adults out there that can do just what we are doing every day just on their own.
And to have that connection, to have that for the youth, a message in closing to we live in a social media world, and the crazy thing about the world we live in, and I said this, if not for my company, you would never see me on social media, but on Facebook, right, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that stuff, YouTube and whatnot, I do it because I'm trying to spread a positive message. Social media, by definition, in my opinion, was always meant to bring people together, to make the world smaller in a good way, not a bad one, but it's not always used that way. What would be your advice to people that are using social media? And then secondly, just how important it is to lift your head up from your phone every once in a while.
So social media, especially in a teen's life, it can be very connecting. They're addicted to it, but it also portrays a very, very, very small slice of what the average person's life is all really about. So they might portray this beautiful, wonderful, perfect existence, when behind the scenes, you have no idea what any single person is going through that is definitely not posted on social media. So, my advice to anybody is to kind of take that stuff with a huge grain of salt and realize that, people are putting their best foot forward out there in social media. It's not the real world. And the second point to all of that is that, having personal interaction, giving somebody a hug, just smiling, all of those things, you're missing out on so many things. I can't tell you how many times we've had this conversation as we're visiting the ocean for the first time with kids, and they've got their phone in their hand and they're looking down, and I'm like, look up, look at what's happening around you. You miss so much if you don't really look up. So, that would be my advice is to anybody, including adults. If you go to a restaurant, you'll see a bazillion adults with their faces down while their kids are sitting at the table. So, please realize that there is a world happening around you, and, you're missing out on so many magnificent things if you don't.
And that magnificent world that is around us definitely has been made very much better in this community because of the canteen. So, Toni, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for what you're doing. And and I know that that there will be many more instances that we'll have the opportunity to work together, and I can't thank you enough for it. And I really, truly am excited about what the future can be with what I do and what you do, and I appreciate it very much.
Oh, I can't even thank you enough just for the conversation. I appreciate it more than I can say. I wish you all a great long weekend. Please thank a vet when you see them, and, hug a kid. Teenagers need that hug, whether they absolutely show they do or not. And Dan, yes, you and I will have many, many more interactions as time goes on, and I appreciate this more than I can say.
Well, thank you, Toni, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Have a good weekend, okay?
Take care. You too.
Thanks. That coming from Toni of The CanTeen. Girl's trying to make me cry over here. I can't deal with it. I just see when I want to cry, I just look at Newman because he always makes like a weird face. Newman's the person that can get you to if you're really, really sad, you just look over at Newman and he's like, what's going on, man? And then you just you let it go. I like the hat. Where did you get the hat? Is this Target?
No.
Where'd you
Target,
get?
Come on.
No, really though. Target has some nice ones.
You too.
No, but I'm saying Target has some nice ones. I didn't say one.
That's not where it's from.
Where's it from?
Target. No, I'm just kidding.
That'd be awesome.
Remember when I went to Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
My two buddies I went with, they had a bunch of hats they had bought. I believe it's come from the Syracuse University bookstore.
Oh, okay.
Well, I didn't like the hat I brought, so they're like, here, you can wear this one. Well, it poured that day, if you remember. So this thing was pretty soaked, and they're like, you can just have the hat.
You did that on purpose. You're like, I'm going to wear this hat in the rain so they don't want it back.
We were working money things out, so that was just part of the deal. You get the hat, too. So.
Well, and the thing is, with you being the owner and operator of Newman Sports Cards, you know about working that deal.
The Art of a Deal, but written by a guy I like.
The Art of the Deal, written by Newman. So, wow. So, yeah. So we'll take thank goodness. We'll take a step aside here for a fast break. Toni, tremendous. The canteen, tremendous. The way that I feel right now after that conversation, this is why I do what I do. This is why you talk to people. This is why you get up from your phone. These are the moments where you realize that no matter what has been done to you, you can do good for somebody else. So let's take a step aside, and we'll come back. I don't have work. I love that I speak for a living when I don't have work. I love when I can say I don't have words knowing that I speak for a living, because those are the most pertinent and beautiful and wonderful conversations and fluid and live right here on the show. So thank you to Toni of The CanTeen. Thank you to the kids. And I look forward to sharing that video with everybody. And my heart is it's a little bit fuller today, a little bit stronger today. So thank you for that. Thank you to Toni. Beautiful, beautiful work. Hug your kids. Love your kids. Hug your parents, your grandparents. I tell people all the time, my grandfather's passed away when I was 6. They both died in 1992. It's awful. And I think about them every day, pretty much every single day of my life in the last 27 years. So if you have a grandparent, hug them. If you have a parent, hug them. Your kid, hug them. Your friends, your real friends, not your friends that only go out with you to party, like the real friends. Hug them. Tell them that you love them. When I went over to John and Jordan's house yesterday, and Sharon is obviously Jordan's mom, John's wife, and I give them all a hug. As soon as I saw John, and because I feel that. I know when I'm around good people and I feel that energy, and I was like, give me a hug. And then with Jordan, I gave him a hug, and I was like, give me another hug, buddy, my little bro. But, don't be afraid of human interaction. Don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Put yourself around good people and love that and appreciate that. Toni gives me that vibe of, oh my God, I gotta be around this lady all the time. So I respect the heck out of her. She does a tremendous, tremendous job. And now that I know that there's a thing called Optimists International, I feel like now I should be a part of it.